Hello, 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 hello. So... Uh-oh. We are experiencing feedback. There we go. I think I fixed it. Alright. So... Sorry for the gap between the previous stream and this one. There was a bunch of stuff going on, mostly involving college applications. So... had to get all of that sorted out, but I'm back. I'm gonna try to keep up with my usual schedule of doing 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. So today, I'm gonna get started on the paint job on the imposter doll, which is going to be interesting. And, oh right, I finished making... I had to do these off stream because I had to use a sewing machine, but these are the tentacle pieces. So they're gonna get stuffed and fitted with pieces of wire so that they can be posed. So that's the other thing I kind of want to get started on today, is working on installing those into where I need them to be. So, for the paint job, don't know how to explain this. For the mouthpieces, it's going to be kind of a red and then dark purple, so sort of mixing those two. And then I kind of want to do a human skin tone on parts of it, and then have it with patches almost like scales. And those are going to be in green. So I have a really dark green and then more of a lime color, because that should complement the purples and reds really well. So, let's get right into that. Boop. Have to figure out a way to make that red mix better with the purple, because the red is much thicker a paint. Give me a second, I'm just gonna... fix my lighting. One of these days, I'm gonna actually figure out a way to set it up so that I have decent lighting when I'm filming at night. Because during the day, I can usually just have it... because I'm right next to a window, I can usually just have sunlight for a part of it, but I have to figure out a way to rig everything up so that it works at night really well, too. Yeah. And then also going to be using a little bit of black to really complete the sort of dark look for the purple and the red. So these are just acrylic paints. They stick really well to the clay, although you have to put in pretty thick layers just to make it all stand out. It's also usually good if you water down the clay a little, or not the clay. I mean, you want to water down the clay too, just because it's air dry clay. But if you water down your paints a little bit, it puts down a nice coat of color. If I'm going to be using water with these, I'm going to want some pieces of paper towel right here, so that I can just kind of wipe off the brush in between uses. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get it set up on Twitch so that I actually have the schedule piece working. So I can pre-schedule my streams a little bit better. But I have not gotten around to doing that because I was going to last week and then I didn't stream last week because I had things to do. Maybe I'll try to get that done this week when I have a little bit more of a consistent schedule. Just honestly, it's just working out the college stuff. Should also really bring out the details of the sculpt, because when it's all kind of white like that, it can be a little bit hard, especially on camera, to see all of the pieces. But once I have it in color, that should help with that. So there's the tongue. And I'm gonna put purple around the edges and then kind of blend them up. This is also probably a piece that I'm gonna have to go over with varnish just to give it a really brighter look, make it look almost wet. I'm pretty happy with how this doll is turning out. The body modifications went better than I was expecting them to be honest. And then I've only had to glue back on one piece. Which was the neck peg, which in hindsight I should have wired down better. Instead of just relying on glue and clay to hold it all. Let me get a better angle on this. There we go. Been thinking about doing maybe some other stuff other than just the doll things on my channel. So I could obviously, put a video up on my YouTube channel, although I still haven't gone back and fixed the editing and I don't know if I will. Because I spent so long on that and then it just didn't work in the way I wanted, but, you know. So I could do some of my other art stuff, either some of my digital painting or just my straight up pencil drawings. I could also try doing a little bit of gaming on here. That's another thing I've thought about doing. Which, either way, it will be very interesting. Just trying to get all that to work out. Especially if I go with the gaming stuff, because the games that I would do are not conventional games to stream. Because I have weird hobbies in every part of my life. Including speedrunning Zoo Tycoon 2 for some reason, so. Don't know why that specific game. There we go. That's coming together pretty nicely. blend this red into the purple a little bit more there. I sort of have some other kind of tentacle-y tongues coming out other than the big one. I have to figure out how to paint the tentacles on the back, because I made those out of black fabric to start with, which is a pretty good base, but I'll have to figure out how I'm gonna put paint onto the fabric without having it get too stiff to be posable. Yeah, this doll's sort of a trial run of all of streaming this stuff, so I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get this one done. Because it's going both faster and slower than I expected, in that the pieces that I thought would be taking a long time aren't. And a couple other pieces that I'm thinking wouldn't take very long or would be easier to film, I have to spend more time on. If paint water here. And while this is still a little bit wet, I want to go in with a bit of red, just to make sure it blends nicely. One thing I kind of noticed from, well, since I got started with the streaming stuff, is that I've been talking to myself more. Just, even when I'm not streaming, I'll just be talking myself through things. It's not exactly a bad thing, it's just kind of weird. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Oh, whoops, I missed one. Pretty happy with the sculpting on the teeth in particular. Because that was just going through and literally I used a mechanical pencil lead to pick all of that out, because it's just so many tiny lines. To get all of that in. I think it'll pay off once I get done with this. Yeah, this This might set a tone for a couple of my future projects because I am really enjoying working with some more of the horror stuff. Oh, hello. Hello. I'm working on doing painting here. All of this to... I say this is probably the most detailed. Thank you. Thank you. Probably the most detailed paint job I've done on a doll because I had to sculpt all of this in, and I just really want to bring out all of that work that I did there. Yeah, so this might set a theme for some of my future projects because I'm really kind of enjoying working with some of the, I guess, more horror imagery here. Which is weird because I don't usually enjoy horror, but the aesthetic's kind of nice. I did blend that out a little bit. Probably gonna end up going over some of this with pastels just to get better color variance in. There's always a lot of layers. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thing is, I grew up painting, I guess, D&D miniatures with my dad, so I just sort of am working off of that. You really have to, I guess, pay attention to where the light hits it. Would be my best advice for getting that to look good. Oh no. Because you have to make the spots where the light hit it lighter. Now I have to try to mix a skin tone, and I don't know how to do that. That does complicate things. So I got the closest paints that I have. I have to try to mix something. This bottle of paint I have had for, like, I'm pretty sure this has been in my house for 10 years. And there's still some left. Actually, it's still like half a bottle. Yeah. I've seen people use other stuff here other than the acrylics, which is usually a pretty good starting point, but there's a bunch of other stuff you can try to work with. Yeah. So, I know people who, granted it's a slightly different medium because they're working on, I guess, it was designed for working on making steampunk style models. The technique was, and you basically do acrylic and then you put oil over top. Oh, hello. Yeah. That's pretty good. This is just for a base because I'm probably gonna put pastels over top in addition to the... Oh, that's almost too, I guess, gray tone. Why is this so difficult? Although mixing paint is fun. Yeah, that's a little better. I almost want to water it down a little bit more to make brush strokes less apparent. There's a piece of advice. Sometimes when you're working on clay, it's easier to water down the paint, because then the water soaks into the clay and it leaves less brush strokes on the finished thing. And if there's still too many brush strokes for your liking, you can use a really fine sandpaper to get rid of it. Now, the thing with painting on dolls with acrylics is that it is going to rub off around the joints a lot. So you can usually deal with that by putting layers of pastels there. Thank you. I sculpted that myself. But if you put pastels around the joints, it stops it from rubbing off. There we go. Had to... Censorbot, thank you, but no. That... okay. This is just the first layer, so I'm probably going to end up going over top of this once I get it sort of more smooth. Just moving around all of the tentacle pieces. I'm hoping the paint will stick to the plastic okay, but Honestly, I might just rely on the sealant to make that happen because I do not trust this paint not to rub off of things. It's good paint. It's cheap paint, but it is not trustworthy. Mouth. Big ol' mouth. Which is fun to paint. I'm leaving the area around the mouth directly because that's gonna get that's gonna get a different color situation. So I got 2 different greens. I'm gonna use those with the black. And I will see how it goes. Nice thing about working on clay is because it absorbs the water. You have to be a little bit careful with it because it does make the clay a bit soft, but it also makes the paint dry really fast. So you can just keep working on more layers. There we go. And I already have paint on my hands, of course. I always have paint on my hands, even when I'm not working with paint. Which is confusing, but it happens. Yeah, just paint. It gets everywhere. Oh boy. These are very small lines. Granted, paint is intended to get everywhere. Yeah, I feel that. Anything that is a paint or even like a pigment will get on you no matter what. And honestly, I don't mind it. Just, yep. I will always be stained some color or another. Sort of like how when I'm working on my other stuff that I do, which is robotics, is I will always have bandages on my hands when I'm doing that just because I'm working with small pieces of metal. Oh, alcohol markers. Yeah. Those suck. Because the ink does not come out ever. I work with watercolor more than I do with alcohol, but it... I have a big old collection of watercolor markers. Those are really fun for doing map making. And that is a very nerdy thing to say, but making fantasy maps is a lot of fun with working with the markers and stuff. I am a serial hobbyist. If it is a creative hobby, I will try it. There we go. It's not hard. My advice for those is to do it in pencil and then go over with marker if you want to use marker. It just makes it so much cleaner. I guess that's good advice for, like, any kind of art. So I'm just putting in that green and then some more lime. And the addition of the green should really help to bring out the purple and make it really bright and that's the hard thing about this character is that Among Us is a very difficult game to channel into an art piece because it's, like, definitely both horror and, like, fun party games, so you have to have to try to balance all of that. So sort of with the bright colors. Still the sort of applied in a horrifying way. I'm probably gonna have to do the head all in pastels. So that's just gonna be a lot of layers of pastels and sealant. Because I have tried painting heads before, and it does not work. The paint cracks off because the head is vinyl and squishy, and the paint is not squishy. So you have to be really careful with that. It just makes a mess everywhere. Yeah, I'm aware. And at this point, I wouldn't even be upset because I know I already have paint on my hands. I am always either have paint on my hands or am about to get paint on my hands. Bloop. Boop. Make sure I get everything covered. The teeth are gonna be interesting to paint. Bloop. Yeah. Because they're very detailed, so I'll probably have to go in with a white and then dry brush over the top with sort of like a yellow, just to really pick out all of the color. Or not color, the molding there. I'm also gonna do a similar thing with the scale pieces. Sort of that pattern on the neck and the shoulders, just to really add some interest to the design, I guess. Oh. Yeah. I live with, like, so many animals, yeah. They're probably hungry, but they have already been fed, and now they are just being mean. Yes. Those would be the, birds! Yes, I have, 4 birds right now. So, 2 little budgies, and then 2 green cheek conures, who are, first of all, older than I am technically, and second of all, little demons, because they're rescue conures and do not know how to interact with people. Either that or don't want to. So, like, they will permit my existence as long as I do not mess with them. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, I'm pretty sure the younger one is around 21. Hungry babies. Yeah. They're my demon children. They scream and they bite me, and I love them. That is all they know how to do. Scream and destroy and bite. Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say there's probably going to be a lot of background noises because I live with like 4 birds, 2 dogs, and right now 2 people, but can get up to 5 people when people move back in and out because everyone's in college and it becomes a mess. But yeah. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I can figure out a way to jigger my audio so that it kind of works around that a little bit, but I don't know. I have not done anything with the microphone other than, like, plug it in and change one setting so that it's working in the way I need it to. Boobs. These are just the base colors. And then I can go in with pastels and really blend everything together all nice. Burbs. Look at all those burbs. Look at all those chickens. There we go. Dog. Why is dog doing this? Bork! Bork. As much as Kiri can bork, being a hound who only knows how to howl. I can also... Dog. Borky. Yes. That is Valkyrie, aka Kiri. She is good dog. If loud. Very loud dog. So I'm not gonna paint the face pieces, but I am gonna paint words. I'm gonna paint the clay pieces because those are gonna pop off and then glue back on once it's all put together. Yeah, puppy. She's like, how old would she be now? 2, 3? Little baby. We did not know what we were getting into when we adopted her. Because also a rescue puppy and was adopted while very sick. And then she got better, and then the house became chaos. Yeah. Baby puppy. And now we don't have another puppy to babysit the puppy. Because my sister took her service dog with her when she went to college, so we lost the big responsible dog. Who can keep the other two out of trouble, so now it's just chaos. This red paint is very thick and it makes it difficult. I think. It's the other thing, I might put up a poll. I don't know how to do that on any social media, but I'll figure out a way to do it so that I can figure out what hat to give this imposter. Just giving that the same kind of treatment. I need to let those dry. So I might come back over them. So I can get started on the other thing that is scheduled today. Is on my schedule. Which is getting these in. If I can find where I put the things. Where did the things go? There we go. Tentacle pieces. I have a cloud over here. It's just stuffing. And the wire pieces that are gonna get rooted in to the back piece and then run up through these so that they become posable. And I have, of course, needle and thread. And needle threader, because I'm not doing that by hand. Tentacle time! It's a fun phrase. Alright. So, I was thinking a little bit about how I'm going to do this. And I might have some of them branch off of each other. But I know for the main piece, I want to have the larger tentacles sticking out from here. And then the smaller ones sort of making almost a flower. So that it... I think that will look best. So it's sort of a background and then a foreground. I don't know. These were fun to make though, because I didn't cut out the pattern pieces. I just sewed together 3 pieces of fabric and then cut around them. Okay, now how do I go about stuffing these? I think I'm gonna need... Did I just unplug my microphone? No, I didn't. That's good. Hydrate. Because I have my water bottle here, and what's the point of having my water bottle here if I'm not going to use it? So, first, I'm going to stick the wire in and measure out how much wire I need. About up to there. Boop. And then I could put this in, and I'm going to stuff around that. Using something pointy. Just going to kind of ball this up so it's easier to insert. Here's the back of a paintbrush. Stuffing tubes is difficult. There we go. Oh yeah, that's turning out the way I wanted. Yay! Because I did this in 3 pieces of fabric instead of just 2. So that it can have sort of that triangle shape. Which octopus tentacles kind of do have. Because they have that base piece where they have all of the suckers. I have to get this stuffed evenly, which is always difficult when it's a tube. But yeah, that makes it so it can be posed, kinda. Which is what I was trying to make happen. And then it uses the wire piece to root into place. But that also means... Let me put a little bit more stuffing in this just to make sure, because this is going to be horrible if I have to reopen them and stuff them again later. But now I need to take this. I love these little threaders. They're great. It's literally just a piece of wire, but it works well. You thread that through. Put this through here. Come on. And needleless thread. It's the most, like, mediocre but very underrated piece of sewing equipment that everyone should have is a needle threader because it makes it so much easier. Now, I'm gonna make sure I put the knot on the inside. Also, sort of roll it around my finger so that I can get the hem into place. And then stick through here. Go all around the outside. Don't... Wire is tangled. Wire is tangled in thread. Or is the thread tangled around the wire? I'm pretty sure they mean the same thing, but you know. Then, once you have it all the way around, then you can just pull it tight. Trim away that. You have a decent seal around the wire, although I might want to go around that again. I'm covered in stuffing. I don't know if I'm gonna need to make more tentacles. I sewed up a bunch, but I might need to go back and make more if this isn't enough to give the look that I want. Oh, hello. Hello, geek. We are sewing tentacles out of tubes. Alright, and then that should be able to root into there, and that can be posed. Yeah, it's going pretty well. Just got done working on some of the paint job on the mouth. And this piece attaches in the back. It has all of the tentacles coming out. Yeah, it's a pretty good stream. So I have to do that to all of the other tentacles so that I can put them in. Yeah, see you later. I'll probably keep streaming for about another hour, so. Big stretch. Do the big stretchy. Fix the adjustment of my chair so I'm not quite as bad posture-wise. Although with the tripod where it is, it's hard not to be. I have to kind of do that to the rest of these, although I think some of them I might have coming off of the other tentacles to sort of branch it out. Piece of wire. Handful of stuffing. Oh, it's already been an hour. Can't exactly say that these time goes faster than it actually does when you're doing one of these, but it also it goes simultaneously faster and slower than expected. I think it just moves differently. But honestly, that's true for when I'm working on any project. You have to sew the tentacle onto the other tentacle, which is going to be interesting. I could have probably done these as one piece, but I was not going to go pattern that. That would have taken way too long when I could have just done this. Hello, Dem. We're sewing tentacles over here. Uh-oh. Thread got tangled. There we go. It's okay. Yeah, you can drop by whenever you like. You're good. Granted, I haven't been the most consistent in my posting either. Yes, yes it is. These are tentacle pieces. I should show you that. So I made all of these tentacle shells, and now I'm just sewing them in together. And then they go wire into the back of this, which is the backpack piece. And then those go up around the doll. Yeah. I got done with doing that for some of the paint work. Yummy. Oh, with some of the reds and purples and the green pieces. Which is going to be interesting to put pastel over. But just letting that dry the rest of the way. I might put another layer on it today. But really want to make sure that's dry so that the next layer doesn't mess up that one. Don't do this. That is something that I need to think of, is a name. I usually wait until I've gotten some work done on the doll before I decide on it. Because I am a sentimental fool who would rather get to know the doll before I give a name. Yeah. It's still a decent amount of time left on this project. Because once I get done with all of this, I still have to do the outfit, which is going to take a while, and all of that. I have to figure out what kind of fabric I'm going to work with for the space suit, because I know that it would look best in more of a plasticky sort of faux leather fabric almost. But I also know that would be hell to work with, and I don't know if I feel like doing that. That would be difficult to sew. Even on a sewing machine. Which I already know I'm going to run into problems with the visor piece, because I have something that would work really well for that, but also it does not take glue well, it does not take sewing well. It is tinted plastic. I don't know what that's intended to be used for. It's just the material from hell. Tie this piece off. Yeah. Which is true of a lot of fabrics. It's another sort of project that I'm trying to work on, which involves sewing spandex, and that is also horrible. Hydrate. Big sippy. Big stretch. Alright. This has been the Corvus short self-care break. Yes. Water bottle. Hydrate or I'll steal your knees. Then you'll be even more shorter than me. Yay. Yes. Make sure you hydrate. That... yeah. At what point of forgetting is it just considered not doing it? Yeah. I've been doing better about that, making sure I have water. It also gives you a good, I don't know what to call it other than an idle animation, when it's like when you have nothing else to do and you don't want to feel awkward. Having a water bottle is great for that. Yeah. So is having literally anything that's like fidgety. It's just, yep. I'm sure I don't look cool, but I feel like I look cool. Me and my fidget spinner. Yeah. That's just my constant state of being, is like, I know deep down that I probably look like an absolute just nerd, but also I feel cool, and that is what counts. That is my constant state of being. Granted, from what I've been told by people, it's like that is what makes you cool, is the not caring that you don't look cool. Which is a little bit paradoxical, but you know. Need to get more thread. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Oh. Notice I've been talking to myself a lot more since I started doing streaming. It's just, I know I don't have an audience right now, but I'm still gonna be talking myself through things. Sort of sewing around the edges so that I can pin it in so it's close to the wire. So that should make gluing it in a lot easier if I have it all tucked in like that. I like the shape of this one. It has a subtle twist to it because I didn't pattern any of these out, so it just, that's the way I accidentally sewed it, but I think it looks pretty cool. Wire. Uh-oh. There we go. I fixed it. We're good. Spelling. I hate spelling. Mostly I hate spelling because, like, unless I accidentally just completely spell anything as a different word, you still understand what I'm saying, so why do I need to spell it in the way that it's supposed to be spelled? Like, I get for consistency's sake, but also, if you're gonna have a language that does not spell in a way that makes sense, can you at least have a language that spells consistently? Or, like, have it so that you can spell it the way you want to spell it? Yeah, it really is. There is 2 tentacles. Wow, these take a while when you're sewing by hand. But there is literally no other way to sew it other than by hand, because you're sewing a circle. And that's difficult. Yay! Tentacles! Alright. How is this coming along? It's drying okay, so I can probably go through with... I'm not going to paint the head because the paint will chip off of the vinyl too quickly, so it kind of defeats the point. So I'm probably just going to try to do that piece with pastels, or if I have to, mix the paint in with Mod Podge so that it's a little bit more flexible. Yeah, tentacles. I have to pastel around the joints anyway because the paint chips off way too quickly. Paint. Should try to get a base layer on everything though, while I still have this paint color mixed up, because mixing skin tone is difficult. They really need to sell more pre-mixed skin tone color paints. But then again, it occurs to me that how many people need that? Skin. And this is why I sanded the texture off the skin. Because this doll came with glitter in the skin. Which is not the effect I'm going for here. It's the thing I like about Monster High dolls in particular, is that even though the body molding is going to be the same if it's from the same line, yes. Skin. Actually, I sanded all the skin off anyway. But even with the body shapes being the same with all the dolls that came out in the same line, there's still the differences like that. It's just Monster High face molds are the best though, because there's such a diversity in them. And same with the skin tones, honestly, is that it's not quite as good if you want to do a naturaler skin tone, but if you want to do a character with a bright, unnatural skin tone, this can get you a lot closer than trying to paint it on over top of a natural looking one. Yeah. There are still Monster High dolls, like, I'm pretty sure still you can buy them, but the quality decreased a lot in terms of the joints. So I have a couple, but I will have to, like, remake all of the joints if I want to use those. Oh, that sucks. I have never actually watched the original series, but I have been told that I should. And honestly, I'd be down. It seems like fun. Yeah. Also, like, a little bit harder to notice, but really annoying if you're customizing dolls thing, is the neck peg on those dolls is not free moving, like this one is. It's just a stick, so the head can rotate, but it can't rotate, like, up and down, and that really isn't great. That makes things difficult. I could do that. I've seen people do that, but the thing is you need to have a neck peg or know how to make one, which is not a joint that I have ever tried to make. So I don't know if that's probably a bit harder because it has to have that ball joint there. Which ball joints are fun, but they're also more difficult to put together. Same thing with, this is especially common in dolls that have more ball joints, is having a joint in the middle of the torso, which allows for a really good range of poses, but is also hell to install. Yeah, I do have an old, I do believe it's a Draculara doll. Or one of the new models. And I kind of want to try to do something with it, but I also know that I would have to contend with all of that and make all of the new joints. Yeah. You can make ball-jointed dolls out of air-dry clay. I've seen people do that, but it is not a skill set that I have or have ever tried. Oh. Nice thing about these older dolls is that not only do they have the better posability, but they're also, although a bit harder to track down, very cheap because they are not because they're older dolls, you usually have to end up cleaning the entire thing, which is good for what I'm doing, but not good if you just want the doll to have. So you can kind of capitalize on the fact that most of them are a little bit cheaper than they would be if you're just buying even the new ones that aren't as good. I got most of my big box of bodies, I guess. Most of my box of dolls from a used toy lot on eBay. Which is a pretty good way to get them. Either that or just go to thrift stores and get lucky and have them be available. That's where I like working with Monster High ones, but I have worked on a couple other models, even a couple that I don't know the names of, and those are pretty good too. There's, hang on, let me grab them. Yeah. There's, this body model, which I don't know what line it's from, but it has the torso joint and the legs move really well. This doll also, when I got this one, had preset inset eyes, which is fun to mess with. Oh, really? Nice. I think I've had a few of their dolls, but nice. I did not know that, but wow. The double joint in the knee is something that I've wanted to make on a doll when I'm already going to be replacing the joints, but I have not gotten around to making that happen because it seems difficult. I'm pretty new to... Because even if I was already a little bit invested in the doll customizing stuff, I'm pretty new to the world of dolls in general. So I don't have quite as much good knowledge about what's a good model for what and all of that. Because I know that Ever After High bodies are a little bit better in terms of the modeling. At least I personally prefer them from what I've seen to the Monster High bodies. But also, you don't get the good hand sculpt and the good head sculpt from... or that you get in the Monster High ones. The good news is Monster High and Ever After High dolls are interchangeable in terms of the heads. Because they use the same neck peg. Or at least similar enough that it doesn't cause a big issue. So I'm gonna let that dry. Yes. Just cut the head off. I know that some people prefer the Ever After High faces because they're a little bit more uniform and have a bit of a flat canvas that you can work with. But the in terms of diversity of face shape, you really have to kind of... You either have to be really good at painting them, or use a already pretty detailed sculpt to get that kind of detail. I am covered in paint again. It is my perpetual state. Just generally paint covered. Boop. Continue on the tentacles as I let the body dry. paint. Yeah, it's just... After a certain point, you just accept it that I am always going to have paint or ink or, like, even bits of air-dry clay just stuck to me because... hands. It is impossible not to. Just, yep. This is my existence. Yes. Paint is very fun to get on your hands. It's not very professional artist of me to say, but it is. It's just true. Paint is always fun to have on your hands. You see the colored paste and I just want to put my hand in it. Yeah. Now, part of me wonders if that's why I got so involved in doing art, is because I have really good color vision. So, like, is it just because I see color better than, like, the average person in terms of the range of colors that I can see? Is that why I got so very interested in all of the colors? Which is weird, because apparently both that and color blindness run in my family, and I just happened to get the nice one. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I was gonna say, I guess kind of blindness runs in my family because literally everyone in my family wears glasses. But that's partial blindness. Same sort of situation where, like, half of my family has audio processing issues and the other half of my family, oh no, oh no. And the other half of my family has visual processing issues. So we have a situation where if we want to watch something as a family, if the subtitles are on, like, members of the family can't see. But if the subtitles are off, I can't hear. So it makes sort of a complicated situation. Yeah, that sucks. Yay! It's complicated having almost your entire family be neurodivergent in some way. 'Cause it's just... It's just an eternity of that situation where it's like, it helps me, but it makes your issues worse, so we have to figure out a way around this. Yeah. That's especially the case with, like... I am not buttered by things being, like, I am not bothered by things being cluttered, but, like, other members of my family are. So I have to... Oh, come on. Did that... Yep. No. The thread ripped. There we go. That should work until I get done here. It's not an ideal solution because I just ended up threading it onto both threads and then tucking it through like I'm doing embroidery. But it should hold until I can get done with these stitches and tie this off. Yay! I fixed it. Apparently I tie knots weirdly. You pull it tight and then tuck it through to make another loop, and then you pull it tight over here, and you repeat that a couple times, and then you just pull it. Alright. Finish that stitch up. It's also why I wasn't doing much streaming last week, because my throat was kind of bad because I had a bit of a cold. Hence why I am hydrating aggressively now. I would like to be able to talk when I stream. Scissors. Look. Tentacle. I'm probably going to attach one of these to this one, and these all get stuffed as their own. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I should have enough tentacles here to finish it. Yay! Check everything's still working over here. Yep. Just have to periodically check that all of the streaming stuff is still... that the recording's still happening and everything's still going the way I want it to. Alright. This coated wire, though, is great. Because I know that it's electrical wire, but it works very well for what I need it to do here. Especially when you're using it as armature for fabric pieces. Because if you just have straight, like, copper wire, it will tarnish and it will make the fabric gross because it will get rust all over it. The coating kind of stops that from happening. And it also, if you're going to be rooting it into something, gives it a little bit more grip around the outside. Yeah. Yeah. You have to be careful about stuff like that you're not using materials that will do that. Same thing with, I specifically use a sealant that is made not to, do the thing. Beautiful sentence, Corvus. It's, made not to, like, be affected by sunlight, so it doesn't fade. Or yellow. Which is always good. That's also why you should ideally wear gloves when you're working on something that's going to go underneath the sealant. Because otherwise, if the oils of your hand get under that sealant, it can eat away at it over time. You sort of have to be careful of that. That piece. This piece is going to get sewn onto one of the bigger tentacles, so I should finish up this one and do that. Boop. And then, where did I put the thing? The eternal struggle of making things. I had something earlier. I don't remember where it ended up. Did I put it away? I might have. I will look. Don't want to use this stuff because that will... That's a bit too chemical, and I would be concerned about it eating away at the at the styrofoam piece that I'm using. But I might also want to wait until I get the cover on this piece. So I'm going to cover this in a fabric. And I might want to wait until I get that done before I install these. Because either way, I'm going to have to put in one around the other. And it might be easier to put in this around the fabric on that. Which means I'm going to have to figure out a way to get to a fabric store. Which is going to be a little bit more difficult. Since I do not own a car. And I do not have a driver's license. Driving hard. Fun fact about me, not only do I not have a driver's license, I have never driven before at all. I think I was supposed to do that this year, and then everything happened. So I do not have a license, nor do I have a permit. Oh, yeah! The other big news that's happened since last I streamed is that I finally got the legal name change figured out. All sorted out. So yay! I am officially Corvus. Yay! Yeah. I went to a Zoom meeting courtroom. So I just have to get it all put in, and in the state where I live, it is possible for me to change the name that is on my birth certificate. So, now we have all of the legal stuff carried out. I just have to get copies of that to everything so I can get all the records changed. Yay! Sir, are you all right? My laptop fans have started up. Unexpectedly. Boop. There's that piece stuffed, so now I have to get yet another piece of thread because my other one got ruined. It's not exactly surprising because I am running all of the Twitch stuff off of my little laptop over here. Which is handling it very well. I have to say. Given that I just like doubled its workload in terms of uploading videos to YouTube and processing all of the streams. It's wow. Oh yes, the eternal struggle, picking up a needle off of a flat surface. Got it. Yay. If you can get it under your nail, you can usually pick it up. But there we go. Tie it off. Wow. Almost 2 hours already. Nice. There we go. Ah! Thread got wrapped around something and I picked it up by accident. I usually stream for like... yeah, I usually stream for 2 hours. Because I know I could stream for longer than that if I wanted to, but I also know that if I let myself, I would stream forever, and that would not be healthy because I would not be doing things. So I try to keep myself to around 2 hours, just to sort of put a limiter on that so I don't get lost in it. I don't know, maybe I'll stream for longer than that at some point over like one of the school breaks when I have a bit more time. Do not get lost in the sauce. But maybe I'll do like a 3-hour stream. Time flies. Boop. And this one sews onto this to form that sort of branched look. Yeah. It should probably wrap it up. I might do the rest of these off camera so that I can get started right away on some of the other work next time. But let's see, outro. My Twitch, YouTube, and Tumblr are all at CJM Customs. My Instagram and my Twitter are at CustomsCJM. I'm probably going to stream next. Why, Dem? That my next stream is probably going to be this weekend. If I can make the schedule work with some of the other stuff I have going on. But yes, see you then. Love you, Dem.